Today we are going to talk about 5 Morrowind's mini-bosses, and there is actually a good number of them if you take the definition of a boss fight somewhat loose. To me, any hostile NPC or creature that stands out and offers a decent challenge could be considered a mini-boss. If there's a cool background story, unique item, dialogue, location, anything that makes this enemy memorable is a mini-boss in my book. So today I'm going to list 5 of them, but I'll probably make a follow-up video because there's a lot of them. So let's begin. My name is Alec and thank you for watching. First on the list is Marara, an imperial monk residing in the threatened ancestral tomb in the Sheogorath region. And if that sounds weird, like why would an imperial monk live in a remote Dunmer tomb? Well, consider a fact that she's also a vampire, even though in my game she doesn't look like one, for some reason. And not just any random vampire. Marara is level 30. A level almost exclusively reserved for leaders of vampire clans in Morrowind. And in base game, once we approach level 30, it gets pretty lonely. There are very few NPCs here and there that go beyond, and they are mostly highest ranking members of great houses and ancient wizards, the elite. So Marara is by all means one of the most dangerous foes found on Vvardenfell, and will offer quite a challenge. And what's interesting about Marara is that she's a solitary vampire, doesn't belong to any clan, although she's of Baron bloodline, which means that she's all about stealth and shadows. But that's not all. Marara, you see, is tired of unlife. If player comes to her as a vampire, Marara will actually share pieces of her past.
I have walked in darkness for many mortal lifetimes. I have watched kings rise and fall, empires expand and contract like a beating heart. I have no wish to continue with this existence. My only hope is to find one worthy enough to end my life.
So here we have yet another case of a tragic character wanting to end its existence through an honest duel. I guess there is something honorable about that, although this could be the only honorable thing about Marara. You see, according to the people of Tel Morra, Marara is responsible for countless deaths in this region. She seems to be on a killing spree while looking for someone powerful enough to send her to the final resting place. In her case, the eternal fires of Molag Bal. Well, it's up to us to do that. Besides Marara, there will be a couple of level undead creatures as well. Also, worth mentioning is that Marara wears a unique, very powerful item, simply called Marara's Ring. Its value is 22,000 drakes, so it must be really good, right? In fact, it is. It offers a constant effect of Reflect, 20% on self, resist normal weapons 40% on self, and 45 acrobatics for 10%. I really love these 3-in-1 enchanted items. Now, Marara carries no weapons and will attack with her claws or fists. She's really fast, hits hard, and will drain your fatigue within seconds. So, players should dispose of her as soon as possible. But with that said, let's move on. Our next mini-boss is a unique golden saint, Staada, and I'm sure that many of you already had a chance of meeting her because she appeared in every Elder Scrolls game since Morrowind, including Elder Scrolls Online, making her one of the most recurring characters in the series. And the reason why I chose Staada is because I always found golden saints very interesting. Out of all Daedric beings and creatures we encountered in Morrowind, golden saints were by far most mysterious to me. They have this almost angelic appearance, and having a name such as Golden Saint only confused me further. Like, what are they? They're humanoid, yet seem to be made out of metal, and obviously they can speak, although in Morrowind they've chosen to remain silent. So anyways, who is Staada? In short, she's a high-ranking Golden Saint and a faithful servant of Sheogorath, but she's here on a mission. And to understand the mission, we must first speak to the goddess of twilight, Azura, because she and Sheogorath made a bet.
You have come here for a reason, though you may not know what it is. Sheogorath and I have made a wager. He contends that solitude causes madness, while I maintain it allows for solace and meditation. To test this, I sent one of my priestesses to live alone on an island north of Vvardenfell. If she can live there for 100 years, continuing her life of prayer, My theory will be proven. If not, Sheogorath wins our wager. The time has almost passed, and she remains steadfast. But Sheogorath has tried to sway the decision in his favor. Travel there, rid the island of his minions, and bring back proof of his meddling.
To the far north, on a small island, lives a pilgrim of Azura, sworn to 100 years of solitude. Our task is to get rid of all the Daedra sent by Sheogorath to disturb the pilgrim's silence. Simple as that. Island, known as the Isle of Daedra, obviously, lies to the northwest of Vvardenfell. It's a very remote and quiet place, except for the roaming Daedra, and Staada can be found standing closest to the hut. Now, to even reach Staada, we have to fight our way through, which isn't exactly easy. These guys are always trouble, especially in larger groups, but once they're put to sleep, we can face Staada, who will stoically wait for us near the hut. Staada looks like any other random golden saint. There is nothing unique about her when it comes to looks. But she does have some unique stats. She is level 22 and deals a bit more damage than a standard golden saint. 25 to 65 points melee plus weapon. In my case, it was Ebony Longsword. And she also has a whole set of defensive abilities. Reflect 20 points, resist fire, frost and shock for 50 points, resist normal weapons 100 points, which is not surprising as pretty much all Daedra and Morrowind are immune to normal weapons. And her health pool is also increased from 250 to 350 points, while her magicka is 755. She knows 2 spells, Lightning Shield and Dispel 100 points. All in all, a pretty strong opponent, well armed and very aggressive. And again, there's a fact that we are on a small, remote island in the middle of nowhere and just finished fighting a whole group of Daedra. But with that said, killing Staada will of course send her back to the Shivering Isles, where she will patiently await her next appearance in Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. For our next mini-boss, we're heading to an unknown location. You see, Lord Dregas Volar is a unique Dremora and resident of a Daedric shrine of Magus Volar, shrine that can't be found on the map. To get to his shrine, and I assume it's his because he's named after it, or it's vice versa, we must first pay a visit to the wonderful Telvanni Tower of Tel Fear. In a small, ornate lockbox next to Divide Fear, there's a really awesome looking unique amulet called Daedric Sanctuary Amulet. Equipping it will immediately transport us to the shrine and Lord Dregas Volar will attack on sight. You know, first time it happened to me, I had no idea I was about to face some Dremora general with super weapon, so he mopped the floor with me within seconds. If you come unprepared, be ready to experience the same. Lord Dregas is level 18 and stronger than random Dremola Lord. His health pool is 300. He also casts Firestorm, dealing 10 points damage for 10 seconds, as well as Fort Barrier Shield of 40 points for 30 seconds, and is of course totally immune to all normal weapons, as well as having standard 20 points of Reflect. That's a lot, but his main weapon is a powerful Daedric Crescent. It's technically a two-handed long blade, and it casts 2 effects on strike: Disintegrate Armor 5 to 30 points and Paralyze for 10 seconds. There's actually some lore behind this weapon. It seems to be the only remaining Daedric Crescent used by the forces of Mehrunes Dagon, since the Empire outlawed this type of weapon after the event of Battlespire, so it's extremely rare and valuable. Its value is 180,000 drakes. Now, defeating Lord Dregas can be tricky, depending on player's approach. If player comes prepared with anti-paralyze spells or potions, it shouldn't be a big problem. I tend to hit him hard as soon as possible. You see, Dregas will take few seconds to cast initial spells, so having a strong enchanted weapon that deals a lot of damage in short period of time will be very useful. And the shrine is large, with lots of space for levitation, so those who prefer range combat, they can find their own way. All in all, Lord Dregas Volar makes a great hidden mini-boss. He is quite challenging for the first-time players, and a nice little reference to Battlespire through a truly epic, unique Daedric weapon. At number 4, we have a crocodile-headed Hrelvesuu. You know, I love everything about this creature and related quest. Even the name Hrelvesuu, kinda rolls off the tongue. So if you wanna meet Hrelvesuu, and not only that, but have a truly rare experience of raiding a dungeon with another character with voice dialogue, head to the Wolverine Hall in Sedrit Mora and visit the Fighters Guild. A local guild champion, Hrundi, will ask us to travel to the Dwemer ruins of Nuchurdams to help Loriana Macrina explore the ruins in search of a great beast. So without wasting time, we should go south of Sedrit Mora and find Loriana just outside the entrance.
I'm all yours. Please go ahead.
Our task is rather simple. Go inside and clear the dungeon while making sure Loriana survives. And she's been chasing Hrelvesuu for a while, it seems. According to Loriana, Hrelvesuu is injured from their recent battle. So the beast teleported back to her sanctuary to heal, with her sanctuary apparently being in these ruins. Nuchurdams is fairly small Dwemer ruin, but filled with hostile Dwemer constructs. Make sure to get the ancient Dwemer key from a chest in the lava room and head to the last door leading to the sanctuary. Battle itself isn't that challenging and is probably the least challenging on this list, but I still decided to include it for several reasons. Like I said, it offers a unique vanilla experience. Loriana has unique voice dialogues.
I can smell the stench of the Daedra. It is here, and I will find it.
And as we move through the dungeon, she will provide comments. And this is something we haven't seen in Morrowind elsewhere, at least till the expansions came out. Now, I might be wrong about this, but I remember reading somewhere that Morrowind was originally planned to have more of these scripted, unique interactions, but it was too time-consuming.
The beast is near now, very near. Be on your guard.
You've lost this round.
In any case, let's talk about Hrelvesuu. She is a unique level 12 Daedra and is something of a sorcerer. Besides being immune to all normal weapons, like all Daedra, she knows several spells, including Shock Bloom and Poison Bloom, dealing shock and poison damage on target. She also commands the third barrier defensive spell and Regenerate, allowing her to heal up to 5 points for 20 seconds on self. Really nice. And speaking of Daedrats, Hrelvesuu isn't technically even the single strongest variant. There is a higher leveled, physically stronger Daedrat called Mentana, and I'll probably include him on a follow-up video. Mentana, however, doesn't have magical abilities, and overall I found Hrelvesuu much more interesting to talk about.
I have you. Hrelvesuu! I've come for you! Show yourself! Hrelvesuu is vanquished, yet somehow I feel uneasy. I must investigate these ruins further. You have been a worthy companion. Farewell, my friend.
But any case, let's move on to the final spot. And the final, fifth mini-boss is Berserker Denmother. I believe I already talked about her recently in my video on Solstheim's Frost Witches and Berserkers, but I just love Solstheim and Berserkers so much, I just had to include her. You see, everyone always talks about Gainor, Umbra and other celebrity boss fights, but rarely anyone mentions Denmother, and she is quite insane to fight. First of all, being found in the Blood Moon DLC, you just know she's going to be insanely high leveled, and she really is. At level 80, she is by far highest level character today, and one of the highest level characters overall. This by default means she has crazy amount of health. Her health pool is 495, and being an acrobat, she moves like Flash and hits really hard while avoiding blows. Denmother is also in possession of a unique item, Helm of Bear Kind, boosting her hand-to-hand, agility, and attack up to 30 points for 10 seconds. And that's not all. She can be found in a really large ice cave of Gron, which allows her to bounce freely around, and ground is flooded, so once we hit the ground, there's a good chance of drowning. And few things are as irritating as running out of stamina and laying on the ground while being beaten to death. And then imagine on top of that drowning in icy cold water. Yikes. Oh, and also she isn't alone, of course, but surrounded with a bunch of berserkers. There are at least dozens of random berserkers in this cave alone, so good luck. And with that, we finished our short overview of 5 mini-bosses in Morrowind. As I already mentioned, I will probably do a follow-up video in near future, so let me know if you have a favorite mini-boss, and I may cover them as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you very soon.
What do you think of Balmora, Outlander?
Now this is fighting. You call this fighting? You will die where you stand! Give in! You're dead already. I have you. No one can match me! You've lost this round. Face death! I've trifled with you long enough. I've trifled with you long enough. I've trifled with you long enough. This is pointless. You've lost this round. You will die where you stand!